Ever stand in the pet food aisle just totally overwhelmed?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
every single bag is like, this is it. This is the magic solution. Your dog's going to be so happy and healthy. They really get you with those protein percentages.
Right. It's like they weaponize them or something.
They totally do.
Yeah.
So we figured, let's just dive right into this.
Yeah.
Dog food and stress.
It's a jungle out there.
It really is.
Yeah.
And we found this website, Onlinehund.dk. Have you ever heard of it?
I haven't, no.
Okay, so they're all about like practical advice for dog owners. You know, stuff that's actually based on experience, not just like textbook theories.
I like that. Getting real, hands-on.
Exactly. And they don't sugarcoat anything. Like they come right out and say they're not like the ultimate dog experts.
Yeah.
But they've worked with tons of dogs and they're sharing what they've learned, which I appreciate.
Honesty, gotta love it.
Right. Okay, so first things first, they're like, let's debunk this myth. More protein equals a happier, healthier dog.
Which is so key because that seems to be everywhere. Everyone's just obsessed with protein.
Right. And they actually talk about how too much protein can backfire. Like dogs can get hyperactive. They can even get stressed out.
Oh, wow. So it's like the opposite of what you'd think.
Totally. They actually use this phrase, going on the walls, to describe what happens when dogs have too much protein.
Going on the walls, like literally bouncing off the walls.
Yeah, like they just can't even handle it.
Wow. I can see how that would not be fun for anyone.
Not at all.
Yeah.
And it kind of makes sense when you think about it. Like their bodies aren't designed to process that much protein.
Right. It's got to go somewhere.
Exactly. So they're basically saying, look for that balance. You know, don't just go crazy with the protein just because you think more is better.
It's about what your individual dog needs.
Exactly. And they actually go on to talk about those feeding guides you see on the back of dog food bags. You know, the
Oh,
one.
yeah. Those things are useless.
Well, they say those are often way off, like inflated.
Inflated how?
They say it's all about profit, basically.
Makes you wonder.
Right. Like how much can we actually trust?
Okay, but if we can't trust the bags, how are we supposed to know how much to feed our dogs?
Well, they talk a lot about paying attention to your dog, like observing their energy levels, their activity level.
Okay, so it's more about individual needs.
Exactly. And the good news is, they say, at least in the EU, there are regulations about what has to be in dog food.
Okay, that's reassuring, at least.
Right. Like even the more affordable brands have to meet certain standards.
That's good to know. Take some of the pressure off.
Definitely. You don't have to break the bank to feed your dog a decent diet.
Right, it's not all about the price tag.
Exactly. And this actually leads into the other big thing they talk about. Stress.
Stress, okay. In dogs or...
Yeah, in dogs.
Hmm?
They've found that it plays a huge role in how dogs eat.
Interesting, I can see that.
Like, think about it. We all get that way, right?
Mm.
Stressed out, lose our appetite.
Oh, totally. When I'm stressed, the last thing I want to do is eat.
Right. So they're saying even if you find like the most perfectly balanced, amazing dog food in the world, if your dog is stressed, they might not eat it.
Wow. So what do they say about that? Like, how do you deal with that?
Well, they have this whole thing about understanding your dog's gear system.
Gear system. Okay, now you've got me curious. Tell me more about this gear system.
Okay, gear systems. So we're talking like transmissions and stuff.
Yeah.
What's the deal with gears?
It's more of an analogy. Think of it like this. Your dog's energy levels, right? They're like gears in a car.
Okay.
So you got your low gear, cruising along, everything's chill.
Right.
Then you got high gear, when you need that extra boost, you know?
Okay, yeah. So are you saying a stressed out dog, they're kind of stuck in that high gear all the time?
Exactly. And just like a car can't run in high gear constantly.
Right, they'd burn out.
Neither can a dog. It takes a toll. Their digestion, their behavior, everything.
So that's why they're not eating. Even if the food is good, they're too amped up.
It's like they're running on fumes, yeah. And what's interesting is Onlinehund.dk talks about how a lot of traditional training, it focuses on just suppressing the unwanted behavior.
Instead of like getting to the root of the problem.
Exactly. Like, why is a dog stuck in high gear in the first place? And that's where understanding this whole gear system comes in.
So we got to help them downshift a little.
We help them find that calm gear, yeah.
You know, it's funny. This is like a human problem too, isn't it? We get so caught up in the stress of everything.
Absolutely. We're all just going and going. And our dogs, they pick up on that.
Wait, really? Like our stress affects them?
Oh, yeah. Onlinehund.dk, they're big on this. They say our energy, our stress levels, it all impacts our dogs.
So a stressed out owner equals a stressed out dog.
It's a two-way street, definitely. They're so tuned into us, you know?
It's true. If I'm having a bad day, my dog just knows. So how do we, like, I guess the question is, how do we even know when our dogs are stuck in that high gear? What should we be looking for?
Well, that's the thing, right? Every dog is different.
Okay, so what stresses out one dog might not even phase another.
Right. So it's about paying attention to your individual dog, learning their signals.
So we need to be fluent in dog.
Exactly. They might not be able to say, hey, I'm feeling stressed, but their behavior, their body language, it all tells a story.
Okay, so we need to be more observant. But how do we actually, what do we do? I know my dog gets stressed, but how do I help him downshift?
Well, that's where Onlinehund.dk, they introduced this thing called the Reason method.
The Reason method. Okay.
Yeah.
They're really keeping us in suspense here.
It's like a cliffhanger.
Guess we'll have to save that for another deep dive.
Sounds like a plan. But even without getting into the nitty-gritty of Reason just yet, I think the biggest takeaway here is...
So, actionable advice. Love it.
Uh-huh.
We'll have to circle back to this whole Reason method. But in the meantime, what can we do, like today, to help our dogs chill out a bit, find that calm gear?
Honestly, I think the biggest thing here is stop obsessing over the dog food so much.
Really?
Yeah, like all those ingredients, the protein percentages, it's not that it doesn't matter at all.
Right.
But Onlinehund.dk, they're really big on this. Pay attention to your dog. Like, really look at them. Are they stressed? Anxious? Is there something stressing them out that we're not seeing?
Because dealing with that is going to be way more helpful than, finding the perfect food.
Exactly. It's like, yeah, you can try to just fix the behavior.
Put a Band-Aid on it.
Right. But what's
Yeah.
actually going on underneath all that? What's making them feel that way? That's the important part.
Okay, so observe, pay attention. But how do we know what to look for? I mean, beyond the obvious stuff, like my dog doesn't pace around or whine all the time, but I don't know. How can you tell? What are some signs we might be missing?
It's so easy to miss the subtle stuff.
Like what? Give me an example.
Well, a tucked tail is a big one. Or if they're licking their lips a lot, yawning when they're not tired.
Oh, interesting.
Even just avoiding eye contact. These can all be signs they're feeling overwhelmed.
It's like they're trying to tell us, but we don't speak the language.
Exactly. And just like learning any language, it takes time. You got to pay attention,
Oh.
Listen to what they're saying with their body language.
So slow down, be present, and really observe both our dogs and, what's going on around them.
Yeah, it all ties together. And I think that's a good takeaway, even outside of just dog training.
Oh, absolutely. Be more aware, be more present, be more empathetic
Yeah,
to everything.
exactly.
Well, on that note, I think we've given everyone a lot to think about. We'll be back soon with another deep dive. And who knows, maybe we'll even crack the code on this Reason method. Until then, happy diving.